Now, I don't know if anyone's noticed, but it's been a bit hot recently, right? It's been pretty hot. Like, I have a fan on under there, so you can see my hair blowing in the wind, right? It's been a little bit. It's been pretty warm. It's been really warm. It has. And obviously we've just watched a leadership debate where everyone was one of the big questions about a green economy, and dealing with the issue of climate change, which apparently none of the Conservative candidates seem to actually really care about or have any proper solutions for, which seems you'd think would be a pretty big issue moving forward, right? Just a couple of months ago, we were looking at surface temperatures reaching 50 degrees in India. This week, we're expecting 50-degree surface temperatures in Spain. That's a European country. And we've just been given a Met Office warning, an actual official warning, about 41-degree temperatures in the UK tomorrow and on Tuesday. Now, this is very, very clear. We are going to be seeing much more extreme weather conditions in the UK. It's just going to go and get hotter as the temperature of the Earth heats up and all these things happen over time, right? We're going to be having to deal with the overall externalities of the reliance on fossil fuels and the pollution of the atmosphere, and the use of cattle grazing, all that kind of stuff that contributes to global warming overall. We're going to have to deal with the externalities, and that's just something that we're going to have to live with moving forward. But this is completely unprecedented. This is the hottest temperature on record. The previous high was in 1976, and it was 36 degrees. That is way higher than the previous peak temperature. But strangely enough, if you ask boomers, they don't think it's a problem. They don't think it's a problem. So here's Jan from Twitter.com replying to the Met Office red extreme heat warning that was issued on Twitter, saying parts of England are going to be within this red extreme heat territory, which I am luckily in because I'm in the Midlands, right? And she is of the opinion, if I can get to the screen, there we go, that she used to live in Mallorca, so this is like a normal summer for me. Never had aircon over there, or even a fan. Just knew how to keep the house cool during the day. Now, I don't know about you, Jan, but first of all, right, let's break this down. First of all, we are not Mallorca. We do not have to deal with temperatures of this magnitude every single day. The vast majority of the summer periods, or vast majority of the year. Or places in the Mediterranean, right? We do not have the infrastructure to deal with heat of this magnitude. The first reason is homes in Mallorca are explicitly designed as such so that they stay cool during the day, because the vast majority of the time in these countries which have constant high temperatures, the main function of a house is to make sure that you don't get too hot on the outside. The element that you're being protected from is the heat the vast majority of the time. The difference is that the UK is a very cold country. So we have, as we were talking previously, we were talking about having insulated homes. It gets very cold in winter. The main element that we're being protected from is the cold during the winter months. But these extreme weather conditions that we're getting makes having this infrastructure in place a lot worse, right? Because our houses get with insulation, get very hot in the summer, especially at these temperatures, because heat is meant not to escape, to keep you warmer, to save yourself money during the winter months, right? So this is one of the main externalities of the fact that this country is going to heat up continuously higher and higher and higher as global warming and climate change gets worse. And we don't have air conditioning. We have none of this stuff. We don't have anything that we can use to deal with it. So people, I guess in America and places, thinking, oh, it's just regular here. I don't know what you have to deal with. You guys have fucking aircon. You have no idea what it's like for a country that is not used to this kind of stuff, right? But the thing is, the people on Twitter, right? They just seem to think they're just, oh, it's fine. Just wear a short sleeve top and some shorts, and drink lots of water, and you'll be fine. No, Jan. People are going to die. People are going to die of heat stroke. This is an incredibly serious issue. And all of them going, back in my day, we used to love it when the sun was out. It was such lovely weather. And I can't believe millennials these days, they just want to go and complain about some nice weather that we're having. And I'm like, this is like death weather. Like, I'm very glad we're not living in Spain or India, because then so many more people would be dying. But even in this country with heat that we're expecting, people will die. Right? It is. I'm going to enjoy the sunshine. Don't get me wrong, but that does not deter from the fact that this is a crisis. Every single scientist is telling you that this is a crisis. All of the different kind of measurements that we have for the issues of how much of a bad problem climate change really is. All of these indicators are telling us that we should be hitting panic stations right now, and historic highs by literal 5 degrees over the previous historic high. That should be something that really does ring the alarm bells. And these people just don't care. It's the same mentality. Remember during the storms last year, when George Galloway was walking around with an umbrella going, that's fine, I just have the Blitz spirit, and I'm going to take that Blitz spirit, and we British, we're made of tough stuff, we'll get through it. Like, we got through the Blitz by hiding in Anderson shelters, right? We took precautions. We didn't just run around in a storm with an umbrella, or like these people just put on a t-shirt and eat an ice cream when it was hot. This is death temperature. Blitz spirit is where we take precautions to deal with that. And the reason why we have the Met Office issuing warnings and why we have guidance coming down from the top of society, basically, from the government, telling us these are things that you can do to make sure that you don't overheat. Because this will save lives, right? It's not all some kind of massive conspiracy of government control like the lockdowns were. This is just a basic precautions that they're asking you to take. And it's not doomerism to say that we need to be thinking about this as some kind of existential crisis, rather than saying, "Oh, just enjoy the nice weather." I am going to be able to enjoy the nice weather. I'm going to be able to enjoy it, but I'm also going to, at the same time, I'm going to think, actually, we need to do some serious understanding about how we got to this position and how our country and how our the world is going to deal with this moving forward, because it just can't continue like this, especially not when we're going to be dealing with really cold winters and really hot summers, and we do not have the actual property infrastructure to be able to deal with what happens when we do get that. Because things will get worse and more people are going to die. And it's amusingly, it's all the boomers that are just going to get us killed. We're by hating net zero, hating green energy, because back in my day it never used to be like this. Tough times have changed, right? I understand that getting with the times is really difficult for people who are stuck in the 1980s, but really things we do actually need to make significant changes, and these people refuse to live in reality. They just want to live in this fucking nostalgic Britain that's in their head. They're going to get us all killed. We're going to die, and it's going to be boomers' fault, because they don't want to have to actually change the systems that they grew up with and they think are perfect to make things better, create the positive utility that changes society for the better. And it's absolutely infuriating. Like, this guy here who doesn't understand it, it's like, well, you didn't experience 1976 then, did you? Or 1982 on April the 6th of September, I had to radically alter my work day. At 10 a.m. it was so hot I had to stop work and seek shade. That was over 40 degrees when it actually wasn't, because this is going to be a high temperature. This is going to be a record high temperature. You definitely wasn't 40 degrees, right? Because if it wasn't 40 degrees, this wouldn't be a record. And they're just thinking like, oh well, if we just get through it and just show some spirit. That's just not how it fucking works. Like literally, this person here, Sophie Corcoran, she's not even a boomer. She's a fucking millennial, but she thinks and talks like a boomer. Just go out and wear sunscreen and drink water. Don't let the media make you live in fear. No, it's not. It's just the same like when they were talking about Project Fear about Brexit. No, unfortunately, I live in Project Reality. It's crazy how it's the boomers and these people who seem to think that everybody else lives in some kind of fantasy magical Christmas land world, when we're the ones looking at actual consequences of the material reality of the world we live in, and trying to sound the alarm about these things, while these people just kind of bound along in fucking unicorn land where climate change isn't a real issue. I honestly, I just don't know what the fuck are we supposed to do. Like, these people are going to be the death of society, and they have a complete vice grip over the electoral mechanics, so much so that there is no way of actually creating the systemic change. And they get frustrated, right? They get angry and say, "Oh, I can't believe there are protesters in the road, Insulate Britain, Extinction Rebellion, blocking up London, Just Stop Oil, gluing themselves to pieces of artwork." No, these are the people whose futures you are destroying by refusing to acknowledge reality. These are the people whose futures who are not being listened to, neither by your generation and neither by the people in charge of the country, and they're being forced to take drastic measures. And you guys want to run them over in your cars, and you guys want to send them to prison for, doing the only thing that they have left, which is direct action. Because if the people don't listen to them at the ballot box when it comes to actual green energy policy and changing society for the better, they're going to have to take radical action, A, to get noticed, and B, to create enough disruption to be able to force a change through outside of the ballot box. Because again, boomers have a vice grip over the electoral mass in this country, so much so that every single policy gets completely tailored to them, and young people just get completely left out, despite the fact this is the planet that we are going to inherit, that these people are destroying because they're idiots and they refuse to learn and they refuse to accept reality. It absolutely boggles my mind. And even actually, it was Tom Harwood on Twitter, like the absolute king of broken clocks, was even saying that, look, no, just people asking you to take precautions is not the same thing as authoritarianism. It really isn't. And here's another guy, this James Melville guy, saying 30 degrees in the UK is too hot in a national emergency, but 30 degrees abroad is an escape to the sun, even though it's 10 degrees higher than that. Like, it's the same temperature in some areas of India in the heatwave previously where loads of people died that it is going to be in the UK. This is incredibly dangerous. And as this person that I've already liked in the reply said, going to work in waist-high water is a flood and a national emergency. But being waist-high water in the beach is fun. Like, this is the kind of level, like the mental level, that these people exist in. Because they just, again, they have this narrative in their brain, and they don't want to accept anything else. Because everything, as far as they're concerned, still exists in this happy-clappy, previous reality of the 70s and 80s, where we didn't have to deal with this kind of stuff. And they think that the paradigm exists now than it did back in those days. Everything's changed, and they've not moved with the times. And it's incredibly frustrating to have these conversations with them, because they just don't get it. They just don't get it. So, what's the solution? I don't know. Climate change, climate change is it's where it is now. We've done so little for up to this point that we're going to have to deal with these temperatures. People are going to die in summers every year and going to die in winters every year because they can't afford the heating bills in the winter because the prices are too high and wages aren't good enough, and people who don't have the incredibly lucrative pensions of that era aren't going to be able to afford that as well as their care either, right? So that's going to lead to people dying in the winter, and the summer months are going to be so hot that people are going to die. Older people are going to die then as well. Like, I haven't got a solution. I don't know what to do. But it seems to me that these people don't even care about like material reality. All like material reality, sorry. All they actually seem to really care about is the vibes. Or you're killing the millennials complaining about the future, or you're killing my vibe. They just want to live in fantasy dreamland and not have anybody spoil that. I mean, that's why you get things like the anti-protest bill and the police and crime bill. The reason why these bills exist isn't because they actually think they'll bring down crime or make society better. Is the Conservatives are pandering to this subsection of voters who just want to live in idyllic paradise where they don't have to care about anything forever because they've managed to inherit that from the Thatcher administration. Whereas we're out here working our guts off, slaving away in the actually in the workforce, trying to make sure that we build a future for ourselves. These people are gallivanting around on their pensions that they got at an incredibly lucrative time, thinking that everything is fine and there's no issues when the world is literally falling apart around us. And quite frankly, I'm glad that millennials and Zoomers are switched on enough to realise that and are using the power of direct action to try and make people see things. Yeah, so I guess more protests, please. That's what I'm going to have to say there. I understand people are going to probably get sent to jail by Priti Patel now, but no one's listening. No one's listening. The people who control the electoral calculus, they're not listening either. And I am pretty doom-pilled about it. But hey, at least there's sunshine, eh? Let's all enjoy this. Woo, yeah, sunshine. That's all that really matters. Just have the feel-good vibes about the sunshine. Put on the sunglasses and the sunscreen. Go and get your fruit pastels, Ollie, and pretend that and pretend that the world isn't collapsing around you. And maybe all the problems will all just go away. But on that wonderfully cheery note, if you enjoy my content, please do consider subscribing and giving a like and clicking the bell. If you do enjoy this content and want to make sure that you understand, you get notified when I go live, when I upload videos. If you follow me on these links here, they'll take you to all of my other socials, including Twitch, which is where I stream this live. And I also have a Patreon in the description box down below. Thank you very much, future YouTube viewers, and I'll catch you on the next one.